Welcome to Hockey Nights in Vegas, episode 31. My name is Eddie Rivkin. I'm joined as always by my esteemed co-host, Joe Payne of the Las Vegas Advisor. Joe, today is January 2nd. Seems a couple of old guys have survived another New Year's in Vegas. It was my 32nd New Year in Vegas, and it was the 31st New Year in Las Vegas that I did not go on the strip with the amateurs. That's the key to survival.
And it's our 31st episode. That's a little numerology?
It is. If you're into numerology, some reason 31 is a good number. So let's call this episode Out with the Old and In with the New. Since the last time we chatted with everybody was just before the New Year's Eve matinee game against the Mighty Ducks. I thought that was probably one of the two or three most complete games and complete dominations that we saw from the Golden Knights this season.
It was. Anaheim looked very disinterested. They never really got into the game. But I think we should address the fact that you might be the new Vegas Golden Knight cooler, because today.
Stop it.
I want to give the audience what.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
We shared a conversation in the press box today. The Vegas Golden Knights are totally dominating the Winnipeg Jets. 2-0. And you turn to me and say, is this team really this good? Or is Winnipeg like Anaheim and they're just kind of not interested today? And literally, within 20 seconds after you say that, the score went from 2-0 to 2-2. So you might be the cooler. We might find a new spot for you somewhere down the line here. Because all of a sudden, or
the Winnipeg Jets were playing their first game in 12 days and their legs were a bit cementy from the break.
Well, that's what I said to you. I said, I said to you, I think Winnipeg needed 20 minutes of real ice time. When I say real ice time, meaning game situation. Time. Yeah, game time. And boy, they came out blazing in the beginning of the second period. And the Knights, I don't know, were they looking past this? Did they see how uninterested Winnipeg was in the first period and kind of just took their foot off the gas? Because all of a sudden it's 2-2. And then it became 4-2 Winnipeg. Winnipeg scored 4 unanswered goals before the Vegas Golden Knights decided to become reinterested and get the game tied up with a goal with just 8.1 seconds to go, which got the crowd pretty pumped up. But they lost in overtime for the first time in
16, I think.
16 attempts. Well, that's a pretty strong number.
You know what? It's weird. Sometimes this team, takes their foot off the gas. They certainly lost focus. For the first 35 minutes of the game, it was complete domination. 22-10 shots in the first period. They were rolling right along. And then they seemed to have they had one goal scored on them and they completely lost focus. 20 seconds later, it's 2-2. And then they seemed to check out of the game for 7 or 8 or 9 minutes. And then the game turned into a pond hockey game.
Yes.
And we're like, wait a second. Where did the structure go in this game? And it was completely gone at both ends. There was 10 skaters on the ice and it looked like overtime. There was that many odd man rushes going up and down the ice. It was insane. And they didn't do anything to help their goalie, whose former team was the Winnipeg Jets. They outshot the final shots today. I think were 45-37, but after 2 periods, Winnipeg didn't really do much of anything other than 20 seconds. It was a very strange game, this one.
Yeah, well, the first goal that they scored came off of a turnover by Whitecloud, and he's pretty defensively responsible. But your observation was that he threw it to where Shea Theodore was supposed to be.
I believe in the system. Even though that's technically a no-look pass, right? A blind pass. But if everybody is where they're normally expected to be, that's the dump back to where Theodore is supposed to be. I believe that.
He was up at the half wall.
Further up.
Yeah, he was further up the hill. And, he was kind of playing how DeBoer wants the defenseman to play, and that was to get involved in the game.
Yeah, but you got to have the puck.
Yeah, true. And
it's that little catch.
When you're up 2-0, I don't want to say they become lax defensively, but you feel like you have a little bit more room to maneuver, so to speak, to try to create offensive opportunities. And you know how Shea Theodore, he's wonderful defenseman offensively. I think on defensive side of the puck, maybe there's a little bit of a dip in his skill where White Cloud is just the opposite, even though White Cloud has scored some key goals this year. But they're severely missing Alex Martinez. They're missing Mark Stone. They're missing Max Pacioretty. They're missing Robin Leonard. They're missing 4 key guys on this team, and they're still scoring a ton of goals. Scoring goals, you would think that once Pacioretty's gone and once Stone's out, you would think that their offense would drop a little bit, but it's just the opposite. They're putting 4 or 5 pucks in the net every game.
Well, I think that has to be a testament to coaching and to the system. When you get Michael Amadio going 1-1, and you get Brett Howden putting up points on the road trip, and even though Keegan Roberto Duran, hands of Stone Colasar, is having a little struggle finishing again.
A little? You're being kind.
I'm being generous, but he's got 10 assists, right?
He can't finish.
Dadanoff has 9 goals. Janmark looks better. You know what? You are completely I will give you props. You are absolutely 1000% spot on when we were talking about Matthias Janmark. COVID must have kicked his ass.
And
you hit it.
And I only because you haven't had COVID. I had COVID last year, so I know how it makes you feel. I had COVID last November, basically 14 months ago. I'm still have. I wouldn't say I'm not back full as far as energy wise. You do a couple of things and then you get tired. And I think he may be what they consider a long haul, where he was having after effects. He seems like today he scored 2 key goals.
He looked goal that he scored.
Yeah, he looked right by the defenseman. Yeah, that was a great goal. And when he got the puck, the defenseman was pretty much even with him.
They blasted him,
and he just blasted right by him.
Yep. Yeah, and, he looks healthy.
And DeBoer made a very valid argument. When you score 4 goals against Alaba, you expect to win the game. And
yeah, except that the other side of the puck sucked.
Oh yeah, and
they gave up 30. They gave up 37 shots.
We need to address that, because this team has always been built on being a good, sound defensive team. And this year, that's a stretch to be able to call them sound defensively. And yes, they've had injuries. Pietrangelo has been out. Martinez has been out for a long time. And there's no indication he's coming back anytime soon either. And I know you and Lindsey Brown were speaking about a facial injury.
It has to be something. He was hurt on November 17th.
Yeah.
Something like that. He's not even skating.
He's 2 weeks away from being out 2 months.
Right.
And ironically,
there's something big.
And there was not even a drop of blood on the ice, which makes it just like, that's how deep the cut was. And when I owned a sporting goods store back in Brooklyn many, many years ago, a woman fell in my store, and one of the shelves that, a model, like one of the shoes to sit on, was a thin piece of metal, similar to a skate blade. And I think she was a diabetic, and she got lightheaded, and she fell right into the wall, and literally the blade, the shelf that the sneaker was sitting on, cut her wide open, that I could see right into her mouth area. And I think that's what happened with Martinez. I think, and she did not drop a drop of blood either. It was almost like an exact replica of what happened to this woman in my store I don't know how many years ago it was, but where Martinez got a cut with a skate blade, which is probably a lot sharper than where the swimmer fell into, and there wasn't a drop of blood in the ice, which is scary, very scary.
The thing about the D, and lately they've missed Nick Hague the last couple of games. They do have pairs, and we had talked about this more during the Anaheim game, and we didn't really revisit it today. They've kind of got it what it seems to be set up correctly. One offensive minded on the pair, one defense.
Right.
Zach Whitecloud, Shea Theodore, Alex Pietrangelo, Ben Hutton, Braden McNabb, Dylan Coughlin. I mean, that makes sense to me. Yes. Injuries are part of it, and they're absolutely missing Alec Martinez 100%.
You're seeing that with the amount of goals that they're giving up.
But you know what? I just think that they have brain farts, and they just have mental lapses where they just stop paying attention to the system.
I'll pose a question to you, Eddie. When's the last time you saw a Vegas Golden Knight block a shot? It's been a while.
I think McNabb's been blocking some shots.
The other night, I believe he had 3 blocked shots. But when Martinez is in the lineup, he sometimes has 9, 10 blocked shots a game. We don't see that. We're not seeing that anymore. And there are more shots getting to the goaltender, and the more shots to get to the goaltender, the likelihood of goals either being scored off of a rebound or just getting by on a screen. So that they're really missing Martinez's ability that he blocks shots like probably the best in the league.
But you know what? That's an ebb and flow thing. In the beginning, it was always really high. They were giving up 25, 30, 40 shots a game. But then it took a pretty serious decline down into the 20s. This was a game that, as far as defensively, was much more similar to games, in the middle teens and early 20s of their season, where they were giving up 35, 40 shots a game, and they were lackadaisical defensively. It was so weird because they were so utterly dominant against Anaheim, outshooting them 46-16. And then after 2 periods, the shots were 36-17 or 18 this afternoon. And they just sort of, I don't know if they just start to feel so good about themselves, or they're like, well, we got this. But, Winnipeg is a quality team. They've always been a quality team. And Connor Hellebuyck is no Marc-Andre Fleury, regardless of what he says.
He thinks he is.
Right.
He thought in that Western Conference Final back in 2018, he thought he was outplaying Fleury.
Yeah, that was a complete 5-year throwback joke for any of you Golden Knights fans. Connor Hellebuyck said he was outplaying Marc-Andre Fleury in a series that the Golden Knights won 4-1
in 5 games. Exactly. Yeah. He was outplaying them.
But I felt bad for Laurent Brossoit today. It's against his former team. The last time he was in the opposite net, he made 42 or 43 saves and skunked the Golden Knights, which probably put him on the radar for Kelly McCrimmon, and got him here. But they really didn't do much good by him today, because he made a couple of 10 bell, put him on ESPN, low glove saves, probably 3 if I recall correctly. Absolute stoned. A power play guy in the dot, and a couple other, where this game could have got out of hand really easily. The flip side, the Golden Knights got down 4-2. They pulled their heads out of their asses, and they tied the game. So this is a team that I wonder if they just think that it doesn't matter. They can just turn it on whenever they need to turn it on, because they took quite a vacation today. A good solid 25, 30 clock minutes, right? Until Janmark scored the 3rd goal that woke up the crowd, that was so quiet that we were listening to the conversation on the ice.
Yeah, you heard the players, and we're stood up pretty high, and it's not often you hear anything said on the ice. And today I said to you, is the players really that loud today, or is the building that quiet?
Super quiet.
Super quiet.
Super quiet.
Your theory was that people were still hungover from New Year's Eve.
Well, I mean, we can occasionally hear the stick taps, the beaver tail when they're calling for the puck.
Right.
Right.
But you heard voices today.
You heard voices like today.
They were sitting next to you.
Right. I mean, to go into the crazy niche of hockey and things like that, there are keywords that the teams use to direct the direction of the puck when they're breaking out of the zone. The words are wheel and over. That tells the team which way they're going to break the puck up, if it's going to go up the wall or if it's going to go around behind the net and then back through to the center of the ice. Every now and then you could hear wheel and over, but today you could have heard them if they were making dinner plans for after the game. It was crazy. Absolutely crazy. And when they went down 4-2, you could have heard a baby fart. And then all of a sudden, Janmark scores the goal. The crowd gets back into it. The ice tilts completely in the Golden Knights' favor. They pull the goalie. They score. And like Pete DeBoer said in the postgame, listen, you can't expect us to win every single game, in overtime. But the truth is, I don't think that game should have got that far. I think that they lost focus. I think that if I was trying to think of exactly what I want to say about their performance on the backside of the puck, I would just say that they lost their focus and discipline for a good solid 30 clock minutes.
I have a two-part question for you then. Part one is, did the Golden Knights blow a point, or did they get lucky to get 1 point? And which goaltender had a better day?
They blew a point, I think. I would never say that they were lucky to get a point because they're able to score goals. If they were the New Jersey Devils and they were down 2 goals with 10 minutes to play, then I would say they were lucky to get a point.
But they're down 2 goals with approximately 10 minutes to go in a game against a Vezina Trophy winner down the other end, and they used 59 minutes and 52 seconds before they got the tying goal with 8.1 seconds left to go on the clock. So I think they got lucky. I think they got lucky to get a point.
I think they gave away a point. If they stay with their system, that game never goes to. It may have gone to 2-2, but it would have never gone to 4-2. They didn't get so dramatically outplayed and run out of their own barn. They got lazy defensively, and they hung Laurent Brossoit out to dry, and that's how it got to 4-2.
They didn't get outplayed until you said, "Is Winnipeg doesn't seem like they're real interested in playing today."
That was 20 seconds, pal. You got to get up. It was 20 seconds in the life of the Vegas Golden Knights.
It's not often I can give you a hard time, Eddie.
Listen, they're in first place. The Ducks lost today in Colorado. They are continuing to make hay. But there's big news. Unfortunately, I can't really share exactly what it was because we don't have sound in the press box. But between the second and the third intermission, Darren Millard was interviewing Kelly McCrimmon, and the highlight reel for Jack Eichel popped up. So I wonder if Wunderkind is due in Vegas anytime soon. What do you think?
Well, the story was that he was going to be in Vegas at the beginning of the year. And we are on January 2nd, so maybe he is here and it's just being kept a secret. We know how the Vegas Golden Knight organization is completely transparent with the media folks that cover the team. So
yeah, I mean, we know everything. We know everything that's going on.
Yeah, I mean, we know exactly what's wrong with Stone. We know exactly when Martinez is coming back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the practices are open to the public. I mean, would you say, Joe, are we on Jack Eichel watch? Not to return to the games, okay, kids, slow your roll. We know that's going to be quite a ways off.
My guess is based upon Kelly McCrimmon being interviewed in between the second and third period, and in the background, like you said, we can't hear the audio, but we saw Jack Eichel highlight reel. I would say Eichel's in Vegas, and I believe he might be on the ice with the team tomorrow.
No. You mean we have to get up and go to practice tomorrow just to see if Jack Eichel's going to? Because
no,
listen,
I think
that's a news story. I mean, yes, he'll be in a non-contact jersey. He won't skate with a line. Okay, fans understand that this is a process. He's not going to come in with a Superman cape and start next week.
So do you agree with me that we might have an Eichel sighting tomorrow?
I don't. I mean, God, we have to watch. I have to watch and see what he said to see if he told us any grand truth. I will say that we will have. Today is the 2nd. Sunday the 2nd. We're on Sunday the 2nd, right? I will say that we will have a Jack Eichel on the ice sighting with the Vegas Golden Knights before they leave town after the Blackhawks game. The Blackhawks game is the last game of the homestand, right?
It was a 6-game homestand. They played 2. They play Nashville as 3. They play
Rangers,
Chicago. There must be one more game after that.
Okay, then I'm going to say call it by the 12th. I'll say within 10 days, we will have a Jack Eichel.
I'm taking the under.
Well, you're going to say it's going to happen before then?
Yes.
Okay.
He's not going to be in a lineup, but he's going to be on the ice
with the team in colors.
Yes, he'll be with the. Usually, it's a red no contact jersey.
Right. He won't be wearing one of these beautiful purple.
I see that. Where did you pick that baby up from?
Look at this. Is this not a beauty, ladies and gentlemen? Unfortunately,
that's from the Spanish Heritage Night, isn't it?
It is. It is. You know, unfortunately.
So are you being a Jewish Latino?
No, I just purple is my favorite color, and I just happen to think that those purple jerseys were the best special edition jersey that they've had as a franchise. But I wasn't dropping 7 dimes to pick up Panda's jersey that night. We'll save that for our friend Land.
Is that the only one that'll fit you? Is that the reason?
Yeah, that's exactly correct.
What number?
A goalie jersey.
What number you have on that jersey?
I have a very special number, 7.5.
Not 75.
No.
7.5.
7.5.
And there's a meaning behind this, I would say.
There is, but it's very dirty, and I'll show you after. But anyway, purple's my favorite color. For the record, this is not authorized by the Vegas Golden Knights. It is a $49 Chinese knockoff. And if you're on any of the Vegas Golden Knights Facebook site,
shame on you, brother.
I know it is, but they don't have American knockoffs. Otherwise, they would have bought an American knockoff. Yeah. But I like purple, and if you're on Facebook, I'm sure that you've seen this, courtesy of Mark Zuckerberg, in your feed. Now, just for the record, they say it's a hoodie. It does have a hood, but it is not fleece, kids. So if you're thinking this is a winter thing, don't do it. And the other advice is buy a size bigger than you think you are. But damn, it's good looking, isn't it, Joe?
And I have one more piece of advice.
Look at this. Look at the sublimation.
I understand.
Look at the beauty of this.
Do not buy anything from China.
Well, I didn't know it was Chinese. When I bought it, it said ships from the United States.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that they shipped it from China to the United States, and then they ship it to me from the United States because the little bastards tricked me.
They're little bastards that they are.
They tricked me. But hey,
Wuhan lab.
But it's purple. It looks blue, but it's actually purple. And I really like the design.
All right.
Now, I won't wear it in public because it's an embarrassing knockoff. I'm just going to tell you. But I thought, hey, for episode 31, first one of 2022, I thought I'd put on number 7.5.
Speaking of first, Thursday night,
we have action. Golden Knights fans, this is the week you've all been whiny bitches about. For the last 4 months. Your heroes are coming back to town.
All 3 of them. Gallant, Reeves, Flurry.
In three nights, on the 6th and the 8th, all of you people, you're going to be crying happy tears because your heroes are coming back to town. And based on today's performance, I guarantee you that there will be a tribute video for Gerard Gallant, Ryan Reeves, and Marc-Andre Fleury.
Well, the Flurry tribute is that's a given, and so is the Reeves. What I do find interesting is, the players are moved. It's a business. They have, but Gallant got fired. There's got to be a little bit of, and I think the Fleury got traded away because of the salary situation, and I know there's probably, I don't know, I'm not positive there's some bad blood between the Fleury camp and the Vegas Golden Knight camp because of the way things were handled. But with the Gallant situation, they pretty much pulled the rug out from under him, and they waited to go on the road to do it, if you remember correctly.
Yes.
So are they gonna give him a tribute because they want to, or are they because they feel like they have to try to save whatever public it would be a public relations nightmare.
Another public relations,
another one.
A new public relation. No, they have to. They look like the biggest jerk offs if they don't acknowledge what Gerard Gallant did for them for a season and a half. Jerk offs. That's the only word that there is to describe what that would look like.
Don't go any further. You may lose your media pass.
Yeah. I mean, no, it's going to be emotional, and it should be emotional for both of those, for all three of those. They were spectacularly important to how we got to where we are today
in different ways.
Yes,
in different ways. Reeves, his contribution was his presence. Fleury's contribution was his gymnastic, his flexibility, and he's a world-class goaltender. And Gallant has a history of doing well with young players. Look what's going on.
Reeves is not going to be a stat line guy.
No.
But if you ask the other 24 people in the
locker room,
in the dressing room,
right,
his presence, and just for 1 second, we'll get away from hockey. He was an incredible ambassador to the city. Beyond his for-profit beer thing, the man really went out of his way to ingratiate himself to the city, to do things for underprivileged children in difficult neighborhoods here in Las Vegas. He really was an absolutely standout citizen of Las Vegas for the time that he was here, as most of the Golden Knights are. We just happen to hear more about Ryan Reeves because he's a little bit more forward and vocal, so for different reasons.
And I got it.
But who scored the conference final winning goal against Winnipeg?
Ryan Reeves.
And that's the only trivia question.
And it's the only way he's going to get to the Hockey Hall of Fame, because that stick
or the puck, something.
His stick is in the Hockey Hall of Fame, and unfortunately, that's the only shot Ryan Reeves has of getting into the Hockey Hall of Fame.
He can pay for a ticket like everybody else.
Well, I'm talking about but I'll tell you, and I bring this up only because you and I have additional access that most people don't. When I was back in New York for the 3 games, and this is how much of an impact and friendship that Ryan has bonded with, I would say there was at least 8 or 9 Vegas Golden Knight guys that came out of the locker room. Reeves came over to close by the Rangers locker room, and Stone came out. Colasar was there. Shea Theodore was there. There were about 7 or 8 players, and they just didn't come out, say hello, and leave. They stood there. They were there for 20 minutes just talking. So you can see that he's developed a bond with these guys here, and I think it's a lot. And I think that's a lot to be said about how the fans feel about the players here in Las Vegas. The fans here have developed a bond for the players, and that's why they get emotionally involved when one of them leaves.
Yep. I agree with you 100%.
You and I have been around the block, so to speak, and we know that players come and players go, and you're really rooting for the crest on front of the jersey. You're not rooting. That's why I always find that difficult when if somebody says, Joe, if you had to put a number on the jersey, I'm not sure I want to put a number because the way things are these days, he may be gone in 2 or 3 years. And
I
that,
just stick with 17 and Vegas strong. You can never go
Or-
wrong with the inaugural season and 17.
or 7.5.
Well, I'm going to show you that off camera.
You don't want to share that with our audience?
No, because I'll get in trouble and all your friends will say, "Oh my God, he's a sick F word." And, but the
Well, that's most of our friends that know you already know that about you.
Right, but the audience, the fan base that we're trying to grow hasn't quite got on to that sense of humor yet.
Maybe they like a little controversy.
No, it's not controversy. It's pure filth.
It's filth.
It's filth. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we don't want to.
Yeah, it's filth. No, it's a clever take. It's a name as a clever take on a dirty thing.
Okay. No, say no more.
Yeah, so that's why there is a
I'm a
0.5.
Yeah, I have 12 years of Catholic school.
Right. Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't even know if I want to hear this.
All right, back to hockey. Enough of this. We've gone off on a rant, but we're still doing good on time.
Okay.
Nashville's next.
Yep.
Then the Rangers, then the Blackhawks, and one more home game. I was watching the Anaheim Colorado game. The Golden Knights have 7 games in hand over the Avalanche. That's astronomical. Now, the Golden Knights have played more games than anybody in the league. They're going to try to fill in some games during the artist formerly known as the All-Star and Olympic break.
Yeah, but we're not going to have that big break anymore, are we?
Well, they said they're going to try to fit in games where they can. But I want to ask you a very serious question.
Serious question.
A very serious question.
Let me take a drink before.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Because one of the key phrases that goes on in the NHL in professional sports is competitive balance. With the Golden Knights only missing a couple of games, Colorado missing 7 or 8 or 9, all these other teams missing all these other games, when it comes down to the end of the year, the Golden Knights are going to have a significantly less compressed schedule than some of these other teams. That's part one. Part two is, what happens if in Canada for the next 60 days or 90 days, they don't get their act together and there can be no fans in Canadian venues from Vancouver all the way to Montreal? Is the season still fair if home teams don't get, if some teams get to play in front of home crowds and some people have to play in empty barns and some people have to repetitively play 4 games in 6 nights 3 times in the last 45 days, while other teams are on a basic every other game schedule? Is this thing really, is it getting sort of out of whack to you?
I'll answer it very, very quickly and clearly. It's definitely out of whack. It's definitely unfair to the fans and to the players. But you know why it's being done? Revenue. It's always being done. The owners want revenue. Now, are they going to be losing revenue especially in the Canadian games, if there's no bodies in the seats? So it's like a double-edged sword. They want to make up these games, but if they're forced to make them up without anybody in the stands, what have you accomplished? So the Vegas Golden Knights, barring them become inundated with COVID cases, where a lot of their games get rescheduled and canceled. Like 2 of the games that the Golden Knights are going to play in Canada have already been canceled. I think one against Edmonton and one against, I think it's Calgary. 2 of those games have been canceled already by the NHL until things loosen up. So I'm not really concerned about that. But if things fall, if Vegas stays healthy wise as far as COVID cases, yeah, they're going to have a pretty big advantage if they're going to make the other teams play all 82 games, or they're going to shorten up the season like they did in the 2020 season, where they shortened it to like.
I mean, this is a real conundrum, I think. If I'm thinking about, forget the business, I'll address that as a separate part of the conversation. Just for the integrity of the game, and that's probably a really big phrase, the integrity of the game. Home ice advantage, we know, is something, because we're very fortunate to live in arguably one of the best 2 or 3 cities for a distinct home ice advantage for their club. This is really, I don't want to say it's a stain or a taint on the season. And obviously we know why it is, and they're doing everything that they can to hit a wiffle ball. And if you've ever played wiffle ball, you know how hard it is to hit on a windy day. But it's getting out of control. I mean, if Canada closes the border again in the middle of the season, after they finally let their own teams go back into their own country, what the hell is going to happen with the NHL season? I mean, this is nuts. If you've got a 7-game spread now between 2 of the absolute prime contenders to win the cup, the Golden Knights and the Avalanche, if you have a 7-game spread after 33 games, and this COVID thing doesn't get any version of normalized in the next 30 to 40 days, between those schedules, that gap could widen to 10. It's impossible to make it up. Mathematically, available venue nights, the logistics of teams having to travel to across the country for a one-off canceled game. If Arizona has to go to Carolina and Carolina needs it because they're competing in the Metro, I just have a very uncomfortable feeling about the way this season might be headed competitively.
It's a valid point, but like, I know you want to talk about the business side of the game separately from the integrity of the game, but always remember that this revenue comes first in the NHL. It always has and always will be. The owners are here to make money. You know, the more people they can get into the stands, the more games they can play, the better it is. I mean, because of what happened over the last almost 2 years now, they've gone to almost like the Europeans with the advertisement on the helmets. The advertisement on the boards have been around a while, but if this goes south quick again, I expect to see advertisements on the players' uniforms to try to recover some of the money that these owners, they're still used to making millions of dollars a year. That if they only make 10 million instead of 40 million, and I'm just throwing numbers out here. I'm not really sure what they actually make, but it's a significant amount of money. If that's been reduced, they're going to look for other avenues to increase, to get the revenue back. They already did it with the logos on the helmets. They have the Knights and all the other teams have a different logo on their away helmet as opposed to their home helmet. And I wouldn't be surprised, because the uniforms that those guys wear over in Europe, it looks like a clown uniform.
Yeah, they look like homeless people.
It looks like a skating billboard.
Yeah, it's awful.
Because you and I, like, we're original Six guys. The crest of the six NHL teams, that's classic. That was the Blackhawk jersey, the Red Wings jersey, the Ranger jersey. If we're gonna lose that, we've already lost the physicality of the game. I mean, there's no more physicality in the game. Every hit now is reviewed as a penalty.
And starts a fight.
It starts a fight. Even if it's a clean hit, it starts a fight. Scott Stevens, if he was playing now, would play maybe 3 games for the year. He'd be suspended the other 79 games.
Yep. I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. Jerseys are coming. I pray that it's just you know how the NBA has a small 2x3 here? I'm hoping that the NHL, if they do that, the first place they put it is on the back corner where Nike and Cooper and Coho used to have it, right? I mean, it's coming. You know, the ramification of revenue, though, is significant because revenue directly correlates to salary cap.
Right.
And they've already, you know, we're already in a frozen cap. You know, they were talking about it going up $1 million next year.
I don't think it's going up.
No. How can it? The players' money continues to go into escrow, and they continue to owe the owners that money to get to that competitive balance that they talk about when they negotiated the CBA. This is
it's not heading in the right direction, is what I think you want to say here.
Yeah, the water's real choppy, full of unknown, and that's
it's like your basement is flooded.
Yeah,
you can walk upstairs to get out of the water, but the water's not going away.
Yeah, it's I have not that I'm a great thinker. I have big picture worries about the game's ability to maintain its integrity and to grow anytime in the foreseeable future. And we're not going to talk politics, and we're not going to talk about variance, and we're not going to talk about any of that stuff. I'm just saying that it seems like the world is not able to manage itself, and the
You're talking about the hockey world or the world in general?
The world in general.
Oh, okay.
That doesn't seem to be able to manage this with any continuity. Each country makes their own rules, each province in Canada, each state in the United States. I think it's going to be harder and harder for the NHL game to right its ship and get it sailing smoothly, if that makes any sense.
Well, the NHL's always been noted to follow along what everyone does.
Yeah, they're not first.
They're not. They've never been first.
Never. No.
And you want to talk about hockey? One team decides to throw the puck backwards on the power play, and now you got all 32 teams. You got all 32 teams now that they have three. You know, it's a 5-on-4, but you keep two guys back. So now you got a 3-on-4 going forward, which means you're not pushing anyone back off the puck. You know, and what they do is they throw the puck back, and the team's now keeping two guys back because they're throwing a behind the back pass without looking, so they have two guys back in case it goes awry. And today they actually missed it clearly. They sent it back. There was nobody back there. Why are you giving up? Why are you forcing the puck to go more than 200 feet? Because you skate it up 100 feet, then you throw it back 80 feet to have to reskate it back up. I just don't get this. One team wants to do it. I don't get it. I don't get throwing the puck back.
Let's ask our fans that. What do you guys think of that back pass that
I hate
every single team in the NHL seems to do? We'll put that up. You know what we'll do? We'll put that up as a poll question.
You know, and
I learned how to do that.
You know, when it was first done, I don't even know the first team to even do it. Yeah, it probably caught teams off guard, but now you just expect that's going to happen because every team does it. Watch any team's power play. They throw the puck backwards. They skate up to the red line and then throw it back.
It's a copycat league, my friend.
Yeah.
Okay.
A copycat league. And another thing they redo is they recycle coaches. You never hear like a new guy. Oh, we got a new coach. Where is he from? I don't know. Every day, every coach is recycled. Even Bruce Boudreau now, who's doing an excellent job in Vancouver. He's been through what, 3 or 4 teams?
Hey, the Rangers tried an experiment for 2 years. Then they got rid of the guy from UMass.
Yep.
Or Boston College. I can't remember which. Hey, we're almost.
It's BU, by the way.
We're almost out of time. We're going to put up a poll question. What do you think about that back pass that all the teams in the NHL are starting out at? You'll be able to answer that right along the time when you click like and subscribe and stuff like that.
So are we going to give them the option yes or no, or like or dislike, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll give them space to comment. And if they have an opinion they'd like to share, maybe we'll discuss it with them. And, who knows what might happen after that. But
we should consider doing a live one where people can kind of type in a question to us.
As soon as I figure out how to do that, my friend, we're going to do that. Right now, I'm still a dinosaur. But you do see there are buttons. Click and like and subscribe. Can you do that, please? Because we have a grand expansion plan that Joe and I are working on.
It's not a new expansion team. It's an expansion plan.
It's a grand expansion plan. We're going to wrap it up for episode 31. We've done 31 of these things. Episode 32 will be done after the Rangers game and before the Blackhawks game, because I guess we'll probably have to talk about who's coming back from the Blackhawks, since everyone in the world wants to know what's going on with that. But it's going to be a great week for Vegas Golden Knight fans. You can have happy tears. Your heroes are coming back to Vegas on back-to-back games on January 6th and January 8th. Ryan Reeves, Gerard Gallant, Marc-Andre Fleury, Ryan Carpenter's coming back. How about that, ladies and gentlemen? Ryan Carpenter. Anybody remember what number he wore?
He's not going to get a tribute.
No, but what number did he wear as a Golden Knight?
Do you know?
40. That's my bet, my guess. I think it was 40.
I think you're correct.
Okay, folks. Thanks for putting up with us. I will sneak in what the name on the back of my beautiful purple sweater is somewhere in a post soon. I apologize in advance if you're offended.
You don't want to stand up now and show it to us?
No, it's too offensive.
Really?
It's very offensive. Wow. That's it, folks. Episode 31 is in the book. Say goodbye, Joe.
I'm out of here. Thanks for listening.
All right. We'll see you again soon, folks. Thank you.